Hey, this is Full Game Prometheus, the only YouTuber that actually shows full games of all the tips and strategies and schemes he posts on his YouTube channel. And I want to go ahead and start a new series. It's called Learning from Your L's. I actually just came off of a draft championship game, and when I was editing the video, I was cringing on how I got beat by basic coverage, didn't make reads correctly, and I was I was very ambivalent to actually post the game, but yeah, that's what my channel does. One of the plays that I actually struggled against was a basic cover 2, and the way my opponent was playing it, he was actually rushing a defensive end, and I just struggled against it because it didn't really have a go-to play that I knew that I can consistently read against my opponent to get him out of his defense. So I want to go ahead and show you a concept that's been posted online with some other YouTube channels. I want to be able to provide this concept to you. There's a lot of different channels, and if you look down in the notes section of this video, you can see some of the YouTube channels that I actually pick up a lot of my tips from. But this is basically a concept that you can use to beat cover 2. If you run into that player that only runs cover 2 against you, you can go ahead and start beating them down the seams or actually over the middle with this particular concept. Now, the base play that you can call is stick. Now, there's many different sticks plays out there, but the stick play that I particularly like is the one that's set up on the very top here, out of the gun weak wing trips Vikes weak. That's the stick play that I like to run, and it only takes one adjustment, one audible adjustment to get the play set up, and then you can go and hike the ball. So let me go ahead and show you this tip. Now I'm going to take random cover 2 zone coverages, whether it's sink, hard flats, Tampa 2. I don't know what's going to happen with this, but this is how I'm going to make my progressions, because opponents going to go ahead and adjust their coverages to catch you off guard if you start hitting certain types of areas of the field. Alright, so basically with stick, you're going to have a look like this. Now, this is a very common play. You can find it in a ton of different playbooks, and it's in a ton of different formations. And all I'm going to do is, you can see right here, the tight end has got a red option route. We're just going to streak that tight end right up there. Okay, that's all you're going to do against beating someone that uses cover 2 exclusively on defense, just so you can get some big plays and try to get them out of this defense. You're going to streak up that tight end, and basically you're going to make your progressions from right to left. You're going to take a look at this wide receiver on the far right hand side and see what his corner does. Now, if the corner floats up with him, your next progression is going to be the slot receiver, which is going to be Patterson, and then obviously your next progression is going to be the backside, the tight end. Now, that streak by the tight end essentially is going to be a clear out route. We're not going to look to that route. You could hit it, but there's no reason to do that because you want to try to process this as quickly as possible. So we're going to be looking to the outside, then the out route, and then to the crossing route when you actually go ahead and make the pass. Now, with this particular play, basically what you want to do is you want to take a look at the right side and see what happens with the defender. So I'm going to go into instant replay for a detailed breakdown of what your progressions or reads are going to be. So this is my first read, and I'm going to watch this corner right here and see what happens. And you can see the corner actually starts carrying, and now he's about 10 yards off the ball, and he's still carrying up. And that's why you got to make your next progression. These guys are all in a carry. They're like a cover 2 sink. They just keep carrying up, and they're actually going to play the deep cover 2, and that's where you need to make your next progression, because this defender is not going to follow that out route. He's actually following back up. So if you get rid of the ball really quick and you rack catch this, you can actually pick up an easy 10 yards, and that's going to force your opponent to go into some kind of a flat defense, or actually try to do underneath defense to go ahead and stop that quick out route. Your last progression on this is going to be this deep slant route. And if you got an opponent that's doing coverage that carries up, that does over the top coverage, you have to actually throw the ball as soon as he's actually right by the defender, and he should be able to get inside that window right there. So let's go ahead and run this again. So once again, we're going to streak up our tight end, and then we're going to go ahead and take a look at our defenders right there. And then on the back side, you've got this particular route that you can actually progress to real quick. So this progression read, essentially, you're going to take a look at this defender. You can see he just keeps floating up. He's not letting this wide receiver get past. And then right here, this corner actually, it gets pressed by this outside slot receiver gets pressed, and just gives me slow release. So when I seen this combination on this side, I know I'm going to go be looking for the backside right here. As you can see, right here is when I'm throwing the ball. I'm actually throwing the ball when the defender's right there because he's generally never in position to go ahead and make a play at this ball. And you can see right there I was able to pick up a good 17 yards with just an over the middle throw with this particular route. We're going to streak up our tight end. Now this is actually what you want to look for. That's the actual play right there. If the corner actually comes down and bites for the out route. So this is the key to this play, is that if the corner actually comes down and actually bites down, as you can see he's biting down, he's letting the wide receiver pass him after the 10-yard marker. If you do an outside pass lead to this little streak fade route right here, you generally are going to get that safety that's completely out of position. He's like 10-15 yards away from this wide receiver, out of position, and if you actually rack catch that correctly, you can take it to the house. So this is a good play to go ahead and use if you got an opponent that uses a lot of cover 2. He's not getting out of it, and you actually want to go ahead and beat him. Now obviously you can't always beat someone who's smart enough that he's going to go in hybrid coverage. He's going to do a lot of man cross man or man up your corner. Also, another thing you got to be cognizant of too is if your opponent jumps into a cover 6 like my last opponent. But this is something you can utilize in your scheme if you're running into somebody that uses strictly cover 2 on defense, and you want to go ahead and try to beat them down the seam. So the concept of the scheme is streaking up the three. You have basically a 3 wide receiver set on one side. You've got a quick out route. You've got basically in 2 streaks. And these are going to be the things that are going to beat the cover 2. So this is something I'm going to implement in my scheme, or at least go ahead and jump into a play like this if I do run into a cover 2 player, which I've done that before, but just the way my Minnesota scheme was set up, I didn't really have any specific plays that were actually good against cover 2, and I got myself in a huge hole, and I couldn't move the ball effectively against this guy. So you always can learn from your losses, and this is going to be my first video I'm going to post where I actually come up with a concept to go ahead and stop my opponents when they actually go ahead and hit me with cover 2 defense only. So to my subscribers, I hope you appreciate this tip. I recommend going into the lab and trying to go ahead and include this if you don't have it already in your scheme. This is a good way to go ahead and beat people that run cover 2 only, and make them change themselves out of their defenses. So once again, to my subscribers, thanks for support, and until next time.